Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.
Okay, at this time we'll call our meeting to order. We're proud to see our folks here tonight with special interest in our special meeting tonight, where we'll have 3 public hearings concerning properties in our city. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. Before we start every meeting, we pause for an invocation and a pledge of allegiance to our flag. And tonight we have 2 ministers with us tonight that lead prominent churches in our community. We're proud to have our Baptist minister, Brother Sorrells, and Brother Armbruster from the Methodist Church. We're going to ask Brother Sorrells to do our invocation and Brother Armbruster to do our Pledge of Allegiance following the prayer. Let's stand.
Father, tonight we just say thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be able to come together. Lord, it's a beautiful evening. It's the handiwork of your power and your Godhead on display. And God, we know that you have ordained things to be. And Lord, we just praise you for that. And God, I just thank you for this city council and our mayor, Lord, and God, that they have been ordained by you to be a power, Lord, to be over the welfare of this city. And so God, I pray tonight for wisdom. I pray that, Lord, you would just give them the insight that they need for the betterment of this whole community. Because, Lord, it's about the human race. It's about what you have in store for all of us. And, Lord, so tonight we just ask you to come into this place, bless this meeting. And, Lord, thank you for the opportunity to just gather and, Lord, to be a part of what you're doing. Lord, we love you tonight. May you bless this time. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join with me in the pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We have other guests arriving. Y'all just come on in and have a seat. I'd like to make a couple of announcements concerning some upcoming events in our city. They're on the 19th of this Friday, as a matter of fact. There will be another Aggie block party for folks who want to have a good time following the game. So that'll be on the 19th. Our Christmas parade will be on December the 3rd. That'll be an evening event, of course, about dark. That's going to, maybe a time change is going to happen here pretty soon, so just show up about dark. You'll be in time for the parade. on the 3rd of December. And our fiscal year 19 budget is being prepared at this time and should be ready for our approval in November. So those are just a few of the upcoming events that we'll be seeing happen real soon. And as I said, all of our guests are welcome here tonight. The first part of our meeting tonight will be our public hearings that we're having concerning our properties. I'm going to let Scott Hunt explain about property matters, and he will just cover the topics, and then he'll allow you to have your time at the podium. Scott, if you'll take the meeting at this point.
Yes, Mayor. I've handed each of you a blue folder that has some pictures and some information. And the first piece of property that we're going to discuss is a 40-foot strip off of Old Ivy Trail, which is a street that comes off County Highway 42 to Munsingswell Road. This is a 40-foot strip that runs between property owned by David Jewell and Joseph and Christy Williams. It connects Old Ivy Trail back to property owned by the Kaysen family. There is a question about is this property still a city street? There's some title issues that we're looking into to see if it's still a city street. It's showing that it is potentially owned by the Kaysens or that it is a city street. But if you can see the area on the picture, the first picture, basically between the right side of that tree and where that power pole is in the back of the property, you can somewhat see a little bit of a rise in the property that appears to be some kind of a road bed. It's not been a road for a considerable number of years, if ever. It's just an easement back to that other property. But it would be my recommendation that it would be definitely due to be vacated if it is indeed, the city property. But it appears there is a title issue. Prior to us voting on it, we'll have that cleared up. And what would happen with this property if it is indeed vacated is basically the left 20-foot of the property would go over to the Jewels, and the right 20-foot would go over to the Williams property. Back to and that road would run back basically to that tree line that you see in the back.
Okay. I believe Mr. Jewell is here tonight, and if he has any comments about it, maybe he can speak at this time.
Yes, sir.
David came to the city hall and made his request known to me some time ago, and I directed him to come and see you, and I think you and him have had conversations since then. Maybe, David, if you'd like to address the audience here tonight as to what your wishes are and why, go ahead and just speak under the mic right there.
Okay, first of all, this is Oak Ridge Drive, not Old Ivy Drive.
It is, you're right. Old Ivy's down.
Yes,
Yeah, it's the turnout.
Now, originally, this property was divided into 7 plots, and the only reason this road was left out was for a plot back here. Since then, there's been a road built off of Old Ivy Trail connecting that property, and everybody else has sold their property. Joe sold his twice, or it's been sold twice. And what I would like to do is have this road deeded back to us, where we would keep it in the estate of the Nixon family. They would still have access off of Old Ivy Trail, and the ones that owns that property now has access off of 42. So it's not a landlocked piece of property.
Originally, it needed that entrance.
Right.
Now it doesn't need it.
No, sir.
Okay. Well, Scott's working through the matters for you. We appreciate you explaining your situation, David, and thank you for coming tonight.
And that is correct. There's a road off Old Ivy Trail through Mr. Brooks's little park there, and off 42. But it's clear that this particular road is not being used to access that Cason property.
Okay. Is there any other person present that wants to speak about the matters of Mr. Jewell and the request he has? Okay, proceed, Scott.
Mayor, the second piece of property is First Avenue Northeast between Highway 43 North and First Street Northeast. That would be the second group of pictures in your packet. This was requested by the Methodist Church, and I believe they were here to discuss their intentions and plans for this particular road. But there's pictures from looking back towards the east, and then pictures looking back up that road from the west. As you can see, it separates the Methodist Church building property with what is, I believe, to be your parking lot. Is that correct?
Parking lot and playground.
Yes. And we had various traffic counts on this property. One that the county did, and then we had just someone to come out there and look at the traffic and watch it during the day. October 12th was that day, and October 10th was the day that the county put their marker out there. And the county had roughly 30 that went over their line, and then we had 162 that came through on a total of someone just eyeing, you know, the general use of that road that may not have just went up and down First Avenue specifically, but that were using that road. So that's your traffic count on that, and who would like to speak?
Just a question I have. You said there were 162 on which road? On
First Avenue.
First Avenue North or First Avenue East? Okay. This road separates our property. Of course, the property that's just north of us where the playground is, the church acquired several years ago, so it was not originally one big piece. But we would like to have that road closed primarily, first of all, for a safety issue. For our kids when they're going across to utilize the playground, and also on Sunday mornings when people are parking there and they're need to cross that road to come in. Now, so far, and we're very thankful, there has not been, you know, any problems. However, there is enough traffic on that road, though, that it does concern us from a safety standpoint. Also, we've been talking and looking ahead. If that road were not there, as far as any future expansion, we could build right next to the current building without having to go further away. So that would put any future buildings closer to the current building rather than farther away, and again, having to cross the road between the buildings. Currently, even with the road closed, there's still plenty of access to the businesses there. A lot of people, and I don't know, the counters probably don't really show this, but a fair amount of the traffic that comes through that road is people bypassing the red light. They come through, if they're headed south on 43, they turn in there, cut across through the parking lot, and then turn left on 278 and head east. Now, I can't give you a percentage of how many people are doing that, but I would say a good bit of that traffic is just cut through to avoid the traffic light. Some of that traffic is going to Hardee's, the businesses there, that seafood place, and the others in that little strip mall, the couple of businesses that are in the old strip mall there. You know, so some of that traffic is legitimate traffic, but some of it's not legitimate, or a good bit of it is not, because they're just making a cut through. However, you can still access any of those businesses through First Street East, right off of 278, Bexar Avenue, and I don't remember the road name now, but the next road just north of us. You could still access those areas without any problem if that road was not there. What we would like to see is the road completely closed and done away with. Put in a sidewalk right there on Military, you know, not just a gate where it's closed, but to actually close it off. And however we need to handle that, you know, legally, as far as whether we need to purchase it from the city or however that works, you know, that's something we'll have to look more into. But those are the reasons that we want the road closed, primarily for the safety of our children and adults crossing from one piece of property to the next, and to give us a little better setup for future expansion as far as any building that may take place.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
My question is for Scott. If this road is vacated, will both ends be closed with a sidewalk per se, or a curb, or how will it actually be closed if it is vacated? Or how does that work, and who's responsible for the payment?
I think typically the landowner has been responsible. If they wanted to put up something permanent, it would be on the city to put up at least something temporarily that would let it be known that that street is in fact closed. But if the church in this situation was wanting to close that off, y'all may have some interest in
yeah, what we've discussed is on the west end where it joins Highway 43, Military Street, is continue the sidewalk, close that off. On the east end there, though, we still need access to our parking lot and to our current parking garage, or whatever you want to call it, there under our fellowship hall. Now, whether we would continue to use that part of the street for access to our parking, or whether we would move our entrance further north and come in through that parking lot, that part I'm not sure about. But somewhere on that east side, we still would need to continue to have access to our parking. But definitely on the west end of it, where it joins Highway 43, we would like to see that permanently closed off. Any other questions?
I know that there are no water or sewer lines under that road. Are there any power, any gas, anything like that that's going to have to be relocated?
I know that the water and the gas, let me think for a minute, because when we tore that old parsonage down, let's see, let me look at this one. I'm trying to remember if the gas goes down the west side of that road or if it comes through the parking lot. Dwight, do you remember?
And I'm asking in reference to other properties, not properties that's owned by the church, but are the lines accessing anything in the strip mall or anywhere else that are going to go through this road closure?
That I do not know. I do not know. That's something we'd have to get the lines checked out to see.
And Tammy, I believe there's definitely power lines there. I can't tell specifically, but if they're just for the church, but there are definitely power lines that run through there that are on the city's easement, or city's right away. I'm sorry.
Right, because there is that drop from this pole to that light.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, really. Is there anyone that would like to say anything concerning, yes? If you'll take the mic, please.
Deb Dickey from that seafood place. I don't mean to step on anybody's toes because most of y'all come eat with us, and I appreciate that. But, and I am not in opposition to this street being closed. My concern is coming off of 278. Like if you're going to our restaurant from here and you're heading back up towards the Hardee's Way, there is no turn lane to be able to turn down that street on between the church and the school. That concerns me, obviously, for safety reasons. Also, on the other street that they're talking about, which I think is Second Street, that road that comes in front of our business is in horrible condition. It's one lane at best, and it's full of potholes. Most of the ladies that come to the beauty shop next to us, probably, well, they're elderly. They have a hard time with their walkers getting in and out. Most of the time when their husbands bring them, they have to stop in the street to let them out to come into the beauty shop or a restaurant or wherever they're going. So I have a concern, a safety concern as far as that goes. We also have a lot of utility companies that come and eat with us, making that turn with those big trucks, and they come in bucket trucks. They come, if they had to make that turn and come in front of the beauty shop to get to our restaurant with the road being in bad shape, and also with the traffic that comes through there with the elderly people. I have concerns about that, and so I wanted to address the council with those concerns.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to speak to this matter?
I got something to say. The potholes stuff can be fixed. Can it not?
The potholes are actually in the parking lot. They're not on the street. They're on private property.
Who owns that property? Does Pete?
I don't know who owns the property.
Go ahead and stand up, Mike, and talk to us.
We just resurfaced that road year before last. The street that goes directly behind the playground. It's between the power pole and the fence to the playground. That's actually the street. What you're talking about is the parking lot next to the.
Any other comments? Scott, do you have any other comments concerning that?
No, sir.
Yes.
Mayor, the street that she's talking about, it is a city street, but it's pretty narrow. And the parking lot that's in front of the businesses is tore up because a lot of big trucks come through there all the time. And you know, if they close the street between the parking lot and Methodist Church, which I don't have a problem with, and I don't know anybody else that does, but it's gonna create a lot more traffic in front of that little strip mall there. People cutting off, you know, going around the city street in front of the houses to turn and go through there. So that's gonna be one concern, but you know, there is potholes, but it's damaged by a lot of big trucks that come through there, cutting through quite a bit. So I don't know if y'all could address that, or, but they did repave that street, and it's pretty good shape. It wasn't a horrible shape, but it's in better, but it's so narrow when people come through there, it's, you know, it might create a lot more traffic for big trucks to come through. But, you know, that's just something I want to say.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Those are valid issues, and we're all hearing this. We're going to take everything we hear tonight into consideration for sure. Mike Johnson and I will discuss the matters of areas that we can work on. If not private property and we can work on it, of course, we'll address the matters that are streets. We're reluctant to come on private property, and that's something we'd have to discuss. Mike and I will address those issues soon.
May I say something?
Yes. Come to the microphone, please.
Okay. In front of Tula Nichols' house, the road is washed out under the pavement. It's right across the street from her house where the water runs under I guess there's a culvert, but it's washed out underneath there. So that's not safe for big trucks to travel on. If they were to go around in front of Tula's house and go into the back of the shopping center. So I didn't know if you were aware of that or not.
Okay.
But I go down there occasionally to see my mother-in-law.
Okay. All right.
And I see that often. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sounds like Mike and I have a lot of road work to do. Take notes back there, Mike. We're learning lots tonight. No, seriously, we want to address all these matters. They're pertinent matters to the city, and all this is serious business. We certainly wanted folks to be here and be representative tonight of their causes, and we want to hear from everybody that has an interest in what's going on with these matters, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a church, whether it's other concerned citizens. We certainly want to hear from the people who want to tell us of these matters tonight, because we're all going to have to eventually vote on these matters, and we want your input tonight. Okay, Scott, you're back in charge.
Yes, Mayor. Third piece of property is 3rd Avenue South between 1st Street Southwest and 2nd Street Southwest. Obviously, it's just right behind us here. It's the road, if you look in your pictures, between the First Baptist Church's building and the parking lot, which is kind of cornered from Old City Hall. And I believe the Baptist Church leaders are here to explain their plans and the reason they requested this street to be closed. Again, I've also provided some traffic count numbers for this street. The county placed their counter in the middle of that street, and they logged in 6 cars that went across that. Again, I had an individual just sit out there and count the cars, and that report is provided to you as well. And it had it at 218 or 24 per hour. Obviously, there was some high numbers during drop-off time for the preschool that the First Baptist Church operates, and the pickup time for the Baptist Church, and sometimes immediately after school was let out from the high school. But if there's
Okay, and you're telling us how many per hour?
It looked like 24 on the average. Again, we had asked the county to put their counter down in the middle of that street, which would have garnered people that were actually going from one end of that street to the other end of that street, and they only got 6. But when we had somebody count the number of cars that at least use a portion of that, typically what would happen is if a car would pull in, they'd pull into the parking lot and then may come out, and they would never go over that counter. And vice versa, or go around. And so that number, when we counted all cars that used some part of that road, it was 218, but the number that went all the way across was a little shockingly low on that as well.
Okay. And who's the spokesperson for Brent? Are you going to speak to the church? Okay, thank you.
Brent Thompson here on behalf of First Baptist Church Hamilton. And first, I'd like to say thank you to the City Council and the Mayor for hearing our request tonight, and the citizens of Hamilton. I'm going to tell you what we're proposing is that the abandonment or the vacation of 3rd Avenue, like Scott said, and ours is much like the Methodist Church. We have really 2 reasons why. Number one is the safety issue that we have. We have a preschool that we have 67 students attending, and there's twice a day that parents and grandparents come and drop their kids and grandkids off in the morning, and also when they pick them up around 11 o'clock. So there's just safety concerns between our parking area and where they actually attend school. And number 2 is we're experiencing growth at our church, and we have went as far as to contact an engineering firm and construction people, and looking, and we have have plans to grow and develop First Baptist Church, and we have an artist rendering of a proposed construction plan for our church, and just by what it has, Ray Cooper has a copy of it here. They'd be happy to give the City Council. But what they have drawn out here is a new building that would encompass a portion of 3rd Avenue, extending over into that parking lot. And so, we're bound by those. We own 3 city blocks here, and, you know, we're just asking for that probably about 150-foot portion of 3rd Avenue to be vacated or abandoned so that we could undertake that building program. And, you know, what that will do, accomplish a couple things. Number one, it will increase our capacity at the church to have more people. It's going to renovate Sunday school and all those things. In addition, a benefit is going to be it's going to help beautify the downtown area. We hope it'll be a beautiful project and something that the city will be proud of. And lastly, you know, we're good neighbors. We allow the students at the school to park in our parking lots and in any city events. We've opened up our parking area to, you know, city functions and things of that nature downtown. So we want to be good neighbors, and, you know, we appreciate the opportunity to come and present this tonight. Thank you for hearing our request. So we're going to allow you to have this and look at it if you need to and study it.
We've studied it in one of our work sessions. Ray was good enough to lend it to me to let the council look at it, and I think I believe all of us have seen it, but we might want to borrow it again.
Okay.
You just hang on to the mic just in case anyone has a questions you might need to answer. Is there any questions from the council at this time?
If the street is vacated before the building is built, will either end be closed permanently, or what's the plan for the street during the transition from the old building to the construction phase?
Currently, I don't think we have any plans to actually close the street at this point. I think it would be more toward when we get ready for the building project. We have had engineers on site looking at the property and elevation studies, and I think they've mapped all the sewer and utility lines that might be around that, so they've already got plans for whatever needs to be done if we were to build over that street. So,
Scott, if the property is vacated but yet remains open, will it be treated like a parking lot as far as our police are concerned, or how will any issues like that be handled?
From the city's perspective, it would be closed. It would
Okay.
be, at that point, it would be private property, and whatever manner in which the First Baptist Church would choose to leave that open would be their call, but it would be private property.
Okay.
any other questions?
Does anyone else from the church want to say a word concerning this matter, or has your spokesman spoke? Is there anyone that would like to make a comment from our audience? Janice?
I'm not going to need that. I'm pretty loud anyway.
Yeah, you need that. Go ahead and talk through it.
Okay. Well, most of y'all know me. I'm Janice Trouble Bostic, because that's what they've named me, Trouble. But listen, I want y'all to know I love y'all. I love your minister. I love your parishioners. But I love my street. I come down 3rd Avenue 3 or 4 times a day. My daughter lives over on 2nd Avenue, so I come straight down to the police department, make a right, and then go down that to the left. I don't really want to fight a red light. And 2, I'm too old to fight y'all. Not everyone in here is over 81. I'm no one that might be. But anyway, please, have you thought about another way to solve this? I've been working my brain. Rather than close the street, get your architect to draw you an overpass. Could you not afford that? Surely if you can afford to build a new building, you can afford an overpass to go with it. It's something to consider. The children are a lot younger than I am. They can walk that overpass. And you can sure make it safe for them too. Y'all know how. But now, see, Bill Fight and I were the two that talked with the Mays mayor on this same problem with this street. And we have a lot of old people that come down through here and then turn and go to the gas company or other places they like to go. So please consider those old people too. I'm not ready to be put in the ground yet. I hope, anyway, thank you for letting me speak. Next.
Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome. Like I said, trouble, trouble.
Well, this is an open hearing, and we're having public talks tonight about these matters, and that's the reason we're asking different folks to give their scenario of what's happening, and we certainly want to hear from everyone because we're all listening. We're going to be eventually voting on each of these matters. We'll probably have one more workshop before we have a vote, but we're going to vote in a few days and make a decision on everything we've heard here tonight. And with Scott's help, we're going to follow it to the letter of the law. Whatever the law says, we're going to do and abide by that. And yet we're going to try to accomplish a mission here. We've got requests like this that we have to act upon. They're not always easy decisions, but they're decisions that need to be made for the future. The future's out there somewhere, and we want to make sure that we keep that in mind, that Hamilton will grow, Hamilton will change. We've got pictures of how Hamilton used to be. It's not how Hamilton is today. My vision of Hamilton is a lot more growth. So we've got to make arrangements for orderly growth, and every time you have something happen in your city, it changes the face of it just a little. So let's take ideas and build on them, and everything that we propose don't always work. But if it will work, why wouldn't we want to make it work? So we're going to take all this into consideration, and the council is very open-minded on matters like this. We're not at all, we have these public hearings because it's part of the process. We have not made up our mind about it, but we're asking for Scott to guide us because he knows the law about it. There's a certain amount of law that has to be applied to this to stay within the scope of regulation. The rest of it is how does it affect the people that's involved, and we'll take all those matters into consideration as we go forward. And we want to do the right thing every time. Council, do you have any other things you want to say tonight or talk to these folks about? Anyone else that would like to come to the podium and speak, or the microphone? It's yours if you want it. We thank you for your attendance tonight. We're going to take all these comments in consideration. The actual vote, you'll know, actually we'll have it on the agenda the night that we vote, and you'll know about that also. So tonight we wanted to hear from the public, and we've heard from you, and we certainly see the plans that are out there in the future. We see Mr. Jewell's reason for what he wants to do. We see the matters of the Methodist Church and their need, and we see the matters of the Baptist Church and their need, and we'll have to take all these into consideration. Yes, ma'am?
I am here with a sort of a complaint. It's a problem that we're having at the senior citizens with the food people. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. And Brenda does not need to be put in this position that she's been put in, to have to send food back. I'm one that attends over at the senior citizen place, and I'd hate to see Hamilton lose the senior place. Yeah. And if something is not done, the seniors will not be going, and there will be no need for that. But we need to do something to address this matter, why These people are not giving us the service that we need. We are getting little bitty portions of food. I know that they were the low bidder, but there's something when it comes in and you get a low bid. Yes, they can come in and they can get some little bitty small things and not send the portions in. It's not Brenda's problem. It's the people that bid on it problem.
Yes.
And they are going all the way to Ewing and other places before they come back to Hamilton and deliver food. They come straight through Hamilton, and they should stop in Hamilton when they come here. And then that would solve the problem of the food being cold.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I know there's other people from the center that's here, and I'll let, you know, somebody else speak, but I just wanted to open that up. We were very disappointed today. It was very disappointed last Friday.
Right.
This disappointment is we're losing people because of it.
The issue is supposed to be resolved within 3 weeks.
Well, this is the 3rd week. This is starting the 3rd week.
Let me explain myself. I was at the meeting in NACOG in Muscle Shoals when Keith Jones, the director, announced that the state had given this company out of Florida the bid for the seniors' food. After it was contested in the courts, the state still stood with this firm because they were the low bidder. Now they've awarded them the contract and they can't deliver the goods. That's the matter of fact. Keith Jones is troubled about it. He's really troubled for all the seniors in his district, and he's a good man. This matter is going to be resolved. Starting next week, this company out of Florida is going to have to buy you guys meals out of their pocket and make sure it's delivered at a timely basis and warm when it gets here. They've got 2 weeks to solve the problem after that on their own, or they're out. So we're 3 weeks away from a solution. 2 weeks of that, the company is being made to buy food and provide food for you guys so you'll have a decent meal. I'm very disturbed that the state awarded this contract to a company that can't fulfill their duties. I care about our seniors and I'm distressed about it. Brenda is a wonderful leader and director of our seniors. She is pulling her hair out, literally. And she cries every day about it. That's how much she cares. And I care for Brenda and all you guys. But it's way above me right now. Keith's trying to get something done, and the other people, they're not delivering across the state. It's a statewide problem. It's just not Hamilton. So thank you for talking to us tonight. Believe me, we're on this. We're on this. And as soon as it can be solved, it will be. And I don't think you guys are getting a fair shake, and I know you're not. I called Keith direct after Brenda called me, and I said, Keith, we've got to have help in Hamilton. Our seniors are being mistreated by this company. He said, everybody's screaming at me, and he said, it's even above me. The state has awarded these people this contract, and now they can't do their duty. So that's where we are, and we're all trying to work on it for you. Keith tells me starting next week, this company's going to have to out of their pocket and buy food if they can't provide food that's decent and ready to eat when it gets here. So we're following it closely, and I hope we can solve it real soon. We've got a great group, 92 people homebound, and our senior center get a meal every day thanks to the food services. There's Brenda in the audience. Brenda?
I talked to Cindy at 5:30 this afternoon. They have assured me that our food will be the second one delivered tomorrow. I told them today that we could not continue the way we were. I had people walking out today. So tomorrow our food is supposed to be the second one. The cornbread today was not fitting to eat. I would not serve it in the center, and I sent it back. And our food, we're having problems with it being temp. our hot food and our frozen. We're having a lot of problems. They have already spent well over $600 in the last 2 weeks, where I've had to go buy food because the food we got was not any food that we could use. So, but tomorrow we are supposed to get food at the second one. It goes to Haleville first, then to Brilliant, to Linfield, to Ewan, and to Hamilton last. We're the largest center in the 5 areas of this area. So tomorrow we are supposed to get it second.
Thank you. We're just a little off course here on our meeting, but we're going to get back. Ray?
Bobby, I realize that everyone sitting up there is a member of a church. I realize that everybody up there realizes the importance of a church, of all of our churches to our communities. I just ask everybody pray about this. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ray. Anyone else that has a word about our public hearings tonight before we close this part? Our public notice hearings are hereby closed. We thank you all for attending. You're welcome to stay for the conclusion of our meeting. We have a few items on our agenda as we move to our general business. You're welcome to stay if you'd like. And if you don't stay, you're always welcome to come back at any given time that you want to come to any one of our public meetings. Okay, we'll get back to our meeting now, and going forward, the first item of business tonight in our regular meeting would be a recommendation to approve the minutes of the last council meeting that was held on October 1st, 2018. We'd need a motion to approve those minutes, please.
I make a motion.
Tammy made a motion, June 2nd. All in favor of approving our minutes, please raise your right hand. Thank you. The next item of business on our agenda would be a recommendation to approve resolution number 2018-10-15A, committing the City of Hamilton to partner with the Coach Safely Foundation, requiring mandatory training of local coaches for Hamilton Park and recreation teams and activities. That's a new state law, and we have to commit under resolution to follow that procedure. We need a motion to adopt that resolution. All right, we've got a motion for Kenneth, and Bobby Joe made the second to that motion. All in favor of adopting that resolution? Thank you. None opposed. We have a recommendation to pass resolution number 2018-10-15B for the City of Hamilton to enter into an agreement with the State of Alabama through the Department of Transportation for a sidewalk project that would connect Highway 17 with 7th Avenue that runs in front of the Hamilton Recreation Center. This project is to designate a more visible and safer crossing for students and other individuals as they cross Highway 17 and go to the Recreation Center. The estimated cost of this project to the city would be $44,565. That's a 20% match. And of course, we've had some discussion about other incidental fees that go along with that. Just brought that to your attention tonight. We might want to think about this one a little longer.
Yes, I would like to know just exactly an idea of the estimated cost, and I also asked for a list of all the work that's to be performed by the city workers, such as the street department and the water department, all the work that's to be performed by them, and then, all the work that we're going to have to hire to be done. So I think that's something we need to know and discuss with our department heads before we actually agree to this, to make sure, that the street department's going to have the equipment and the manpower and the time, and that the water department is also, so we can meet all of our obligations. So I would like to make a motion to table this until we can get a list of all these things and discuss with our department heads.
We've heard from Tony on that matter. Is there a second to her motion?
I second her motion.
Okay. All in favor of tabling for this matter? Okay. Thank you, Tammy. I think that's wise for you to do that. Thank you. The next item of business on our agenda would be a recommendation to waive the business license requirements of all vendors who participate in our upcoming fall festival, which we scheduled for October the 26th, that's Friday the 26th, and Saturday the 27th, our Buddy Hatcher Fall Festival. We'd like to make a motion to waive the requirement of license for the vendors on that event.
I make that motion.
Gene made a motion. We need a second. Herb made the second. All in favor of waiving that for our vendors? Thank you, and there's none opposed. We appreciate that. Is there any other items of business that need to come before us tonight? Like I said, we'll have the agenda fixed and announced for our vote that we'll be doing for those matters we discussed tonight. We want to discuss between us some more items that were brought out tonight and think about that just a bit before we vote. So we will be voting soon on those issues. Thank you all for attending tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Joe made a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Gene second. All in favor of adjournment? Thank you, none opposed. We appreciate you being here tonight, and thank you all for coming, and you're always welcome. I want you to know that.